Norfside Johnnie from the North. Niggas don't know war, how I know war.
Welcome to Boys in the Hood TV. Today we're going to be discussing the life of Norfside Johnnie from the Neighborhood Pirus. Now, Johnnie Pittman III was born August 4th, 1994 in Los Angeles, California. He'll be named after his father, John Pittman, who was a model, actor, and martial arts world champion. Now, his father throughout the 90s will be seen in small minor roles like the movies Sugar Hill, 5 Heartbeats, Zoo Man, and even later on, the Snowfall TV series. Now, Johnnie will grow up in South Central and live in North Inglewood. Now, Inglewood is a predominantly blood-controlled area. Johnnie will live near the section controlled by the NHPs, better known as the Neighborhood Pirus. Now, the NHPs are a notorious Pirus set, which has a history of stemming back all the way to the 70s. Now, the neighborhoods have close ties to the Avenue Pirus, Queen Street, the Rolling 20s, and the Outlaws. Now, these gang wars have taken the lives of many young people since the 90s up until present day right now. Living in these gang-infested environments, it's extremely easy for young kids, especially young boys, to get caught up in the gang life. Most of the time, their friends are either gang members or have relatives that are gang members, and they can easily lure them into that life. Now, although Johnnie's father worked a lot, he would always put his best foot forward to make sure that he was in both his son's life every chance that he could get. As a kid, his father would get him and his little brother Joshua into martial arts. Now, recognizing the environment, his family would do all they could to keep him and his brother far from the street life. Now, by his teen years, Johnnie would attend Price High School, which was a private Christian school funded by the popular Christian minister, Fred K.C. Price. Also around this same time, Johnnie would get a small minor role in a short film called Joshua's Soul, which was directed and produced by his father, John Pittman. Now, Johnnie's parents would do all they could to protect him and keep him away from the street life. But eventually, Johnnie would start running the streets. He had very close ties with his homies from the Neighborhood Pirus. Now, by 2015, Johnnie would find himself in trouble with the law, and he would be arrested for carrying a loaded firearm in public. Now, he would ultimately plead no contest, and by February, he would get out on bond. But Johnnie would be able to escape jail time, and he would be given 3-year probation. But sadly, this would not be his last time with the running with the law. Johnnie will only get deeper into the street life. But only months later in May, he will be arrested yet again, but this time on multiple robbery charges. 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of attempted robbery in the 2nd degree. Now, of course, Johnnie would plead not guilty to all charges, and he would eventually make bond. Now, the 2 robbery charges would be dismissed, but he would be convicted on 1 count. And this would lead Johnnie to being sentenced to 3 years in state penitentiary. Now, after serving the majority of his time, by the fall of 2018, Johnnie would be out on parole and back on the streets. But only months later of being out in the street, he will be arrested yet again, this time for carrying a concealed weapon and being in possession of a firearm with a prior violent conviction. But ultimately, both of these charges would be dismissed in 2019. Now, after all these mishaps and multiple run-ins with the law, Johnnie would decide to get his life together and start focusing on his passion, which was rapping, and possibly starting his own business. Now, Johnnie would release a remix to one of Blast's records and drop it on Instagram.
Norfside Johnnie from the North. Niggas don't know war, how I know war.
Eventually, Johnnie would open up his own private car rental business called XIO Cars. Immediately, he would start running up the bag and generate a nice set of income. But alongside with this business, he still enjoyed rapping and having fun with that. And in 2020, Johnnie would link up with his homie Rucci from the Neighborhood Pirus and release a song called No Lease. Now, over the next few years, Johnnie would manage to stay out of the way and keep off the law's radar while continue to run it up his bag from his car rental business. But sadly, as great as things was going for Johnnie, death would eventually come knocking. On June 8th, 2022, Johnnie would head to the dealership to drop a bag on a brand new AMG GT, which he would show off on his IG story. And even the car dealership would repost Johnnie buying his brand new car. Now, sometime later that day, at around 9 p.m., Johnnie will be driving in his brand new AMG near Baldwin Hills area, right next to the Crenshaw Plaza on Martin Avenue. Johnnie would then pull into a nearby parking lot across the street from the Crenshaw Plaza. Now, it's unclear if he was meeting someone in this plaza or if he was just pulling in, but some sort of confrontation would take place and multiple shots will be heard. Johnnie will be hit multiple times as he hit the gas, exiting the parking lot in his car. Now, his car will only go a short distance right across the street and hitting the fence outside the plaza as it came to a stop. Now, a witness on scene would call 911, who would arrive on scene immediately to find Johnnie laying on the sidewalk unconscious, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to his body.
In Baldwin Hills.
Let's go back upstairs to Desmond Shaw on Sky 9 with the latest. Des.
Yeah, Jeff and Susie, we are just off of Marlton Avenue and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You see LAPD now investigating this. It looks like the victim is inside of this black Mercedes. You can see that the victim drove up onto the sidewalk before they passed away. So someone has been killed in this crash. A really large scene. I just noticed LAPD looking across the street in this large parking lot. Maybe they're looking for bullet casings, unclear, but an unusually large scene here for a shooting. They have yellow tape all over the place. And definitely the street will be shut down as the investigation is really just now beginning to get underway. Live at Sky 9 overhead.
And by the time EMTs arrive, sadly 27-year-old Johnnie Pittman, aka Norfside Johnnie, would be pronounced dead at the scene. Now Johnnie's family would hold a service for him, and Rucci and other members from Neighborhood Pirus would come out to show their love for Norfside Johnnie. And as of today, his murder still remains unsolved. I would like to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.